Am I the a-hole for losing my temper with my aunt and telling her that her short relationships with widowed men weren't like my mom's 25-plus-year marriage to one? My mom was betrayed by her late husband in the most awful way. They'd been married for 26 years. She had taken care of him in the last 7 years of his life when he needed to be in a wheelchair and had various illnesses. He had made promises to her about being buried together, what she'd be left from his estate, and he lied about it all. He chose to be buried with his first wife and never even made legal plans to change his wishes. He also left mostly everything to his children who are from that first marriage. To give some more insight, my mom was a single mom to me when she met her husband. His kids were older, and he'd been widowed for several years. My mom and I moved in with him, and they appeared very happy together. Both worked. He was a decent guy in my eyes. His kids weren't all that happy about him remarrying, but they were civil even if it always appeared forced. My mom accepted he'd always love his first wife, supported it even, and a couple of photos of the first wife moved into the home they bought together over a decade ago. My mom helped him maintain the grave after he became unable to. She was always supportive of him in there. They had talked about everything, and originally he was supposed to be buried with his first wife, but he told my mom a few times in the last 8 years that he'd had a change of heart and had amended his wishes to state otherwise. He had mentioned her being taken care of, and that while his kids would still be left well off, he would also make sure she was too. He told her he was so thankful for her, and when he died his wishes became known. He'd altered his wishes several times before he died, but never once did he put into writing that he wanted to be buried in a plot with my mom. Actually, he flowered up the wording of his wishes to be buried with his first wife. My mom got his share of the house they owned together and the things she had gifted him in the marriage, and that was it. He had a decent amount of money and the original house they lived in and that he lived in with his first wife. That went to the kids and his other assets and everything sentimental to him. In a letter he left for my mom, he described her as a decent companion and someone who made his final years less lonely until he could return to the woman he loved most in the world. My mom was shattered by everything. It would be one thing if he'd never made her any promises and hadn't made it seem like he loved her truly and loved her as a wife, and that she was more than just companionship. My husband and I are doing our best to support her. She's got our kids too, so she has family around her, but she needs help. I got her to agree to help from a therapist, but my aunt, her sister, said she doesn't need therapy. She had bad experiences with widowed men in the past who she dated, and she acts like my mom just needs to forget about it like it's that easy. She said widowed men are always bad news, and my mom should have known he'd never give up the late wife for her. She told me to mind my own business when I was helping my mom find a therapist. I lost my temper with my aunt and told her that all her past experiences were of shorter relationships that never lasted more than a couple of years, not over 25 years of marriage. I said she needed to get the F over herself and accept people are allowed to have feelings, and how ashamed she should be that she's not doing more to support her sister. My aunt told me I was doing too much and had no right to speak to her in such a way and minimize what she went through. Am I the a-hole?